So I have been keeping this a secret for months now, but finally I got my copy so I can share with you guys. Hi everyone, my name is Elle May. I write under two pen names, one which is Elle May, which is what we're going to be talking about today, and Eden Emery. So if you're someone who likes spicy, queer, paranormal romance, Elle May is your pen name. If you like something that's a little bit more contemporary but still just as spicy and just as queer, Eden Emery is your pen name. So if you've been following me on any of my social media, you should know that Contract Bound was picked to be in a book box. Rainbow Crate reached out to me a few months ago because they plan to unveil a new box, a box for some people who like it a little darker but still like queer romance. And for their first box, they wanted it to be all vampire themed, and so of course Contract Bound was on the list. Now it has been months since I actually saw the art firsthand. I already did an unboxing and posted that on my TikTok, but I want to show it here on YouTube as well. And then I also want to go through my process of this whole thing. So without further ado, this is my special edition for Contract Bound. It has a beautiful dust jacket. The art was done by Baby Blue Mochi, and then also all of the edges are done as well. And last but not least, the interior pages here are done by Hermie. If you have seen any of the art that I get done, most of it is done by Hermie, and so I was very, very happy to pull them in on this project as well as get introduced to a new artist as well. Baby Blue Mochi was an artist that I have been following for a really long time, so being able to get them for this beautiful cover was just insane to me. I never thought that we'd actually be able to do it, but I am so happy that we did. So now that we've been over the aesthetics, I wanted to go through the process from start to finish and let you guys know exactly what we did during this entire process. There are different stages of this, so I'll go through those as well as my recommendation for indie authors who want to do the same. Now, take my advice with a grain of salt because this is the first book box that I am in, and there's way more authors out there that have done this successfully multiple times over, so my experience will not be the same as everyone else's, but this is what I have learned throughout this entire process. So first things first. Earlier this year, Rainbow Crate reached out to me in my DMs on Instagram and also emailed me asking if I would like to be in their newest box. For this, they didn't have a specific dark romance queer box, but they wanted to start one, and they're going to call it Rainbow After Dark. And their first theme would be vampires. Now, Contract Bound was chosen along with Ben Alderson's book. If you haven't had a chance to go look at the beautiful cover that's on his book, I highly recommend that you do so, because even though the color schemes are different from my book and his, I feel like our vibes fit together so well, and it was so nice to have another author going along this ride for me, so it didn't feel like I was so alone in this process. Both of our books in the box just look so good. So after they gave me information on the box, we also discussed pricing. So for this one, because they had a set number of books that they wanted to sell, we did a licensing pricing. For other authors who have them ordered on a rolling basis, a lot of them will do some sort of royalty. So it'll be a couple dollars per book, I believe. It depends on your contract, and that's definitely something that can be negotiated. For me, because one, it was a relatively smaller box, and two, there was a cap to how many people could order, I was okay with a licensing fee. After all of those contracts were squared away, we decided to start the real work. So what we needed to do is we needed to find a cover artist. We needed to talk about art for the hardcover inside and the foiling. We also needed to talk about these end pages. So first things first is I gave them a recommendation of the artist that I either one, wanted to work with, or two, had already worked with and loved their work. Of course, Baby Blue Mochi was recommended actually by them and was someone who was already on my list to begin with. Hermie is someone that I have worked with countless of times, and I honestly couldn't think of any other person that I'd want to work with for this. I have lists of artists that I have used, but there's only a few that I feel super comfortable with and that know my vibe right away. And so it ended up that both of them agreed to it, and we started the work right away. How commissioning something usually works is I will send them a large document of everything that I'm thinking. I will send them what kind of poses I want. I'll send them what the vibe is. I'll send them so many character references. And one thing about me is I haven't gotten very character accurate commissions before for this couple, so a lot of this was me putting a bunch of pictures together and saying, here, this is what the couple looks like, try and replicate it. And both of them did, and they're in both of their art styles, and I love them. Even though they're slightly different art styles, I feel like they both vibe really well together. And so after I give them these documents, what they'll do is they'll do a very rough sketch of the placement, of the pose, and sometimes they'll even add colors in there. For the cover, we actually had 4 different poses that I could choose from, and I believe one was very similar to a previous cover that they did, so we ended up going with, it's either 4 or 2. I know it was one of those, I don't remember off the top of my head. Next is these interior pages. So both of them I had given documents to Hermie for, and we started with the ballroom first, I believe. Same process is they would send over a sketch with the pose, and then they would go through and kind of do better line work, and then they would put some shading in there and see if the colors were all right, and then it would go off for approval for us. One thing I was very certain about for all of these commissions is I wanted it to all be red. There were some where it was either purple or a little bluish, but I wanted the colors to be very cohesive with this book, and vampires in my mind are red, and when I was building the series, I just had red in mind. We did have to go back and forth on a couple of them, mostly because of pricing. This book box is still relatively small, so they're trying to work up to larger pieces, more money to spend on each box, but even so, they did a wonderful job with this box, and we were able to come to a very great happy medium for all of us. And then for this hardcover part, we did the same thing. I went ahead and let them know what I was thinking about, and they sent back some sketches, and this is what we ended up with. And then there is a quote on the back, actually one of the most popular highlighted quotes, which is why it's in here. It says, "I'll make sure you're so fully obsessed with me by the end of this that you don't even dare think of anyone else." That is a highly, highly loved quote, and if you look in the popular highlights on Kindle, this is like one with the highest amount of saves. They did pick the art for the edges, but honestly, as soon as they sent it to me, I was like, I love it. And I had absolutely no notes. I was like, this is perfect. I would like to keep it. On top of that, there's actually a short in here that I put. It was originally only for my Patreons, but then I went ahead and had it edited and put in this special edition. There's also a small letter from the author in here. You get a very nice black and white picture of the cover inside, and then they reformatted all of my hunter rankings and clan watch lists. They added new chapter headers, and it is a beautiful dagger with rose that I absolutely love. For both Contract Bound and Lost Claws, it's very dagger related, and it has roses, and so it fits the theme so well. So if you're an indie author and you're looking to get into a book box, honestly, I would highly recommend it if you could find one that is trustworthy and one that you just vibe with. This has gotten some eyes on my books, and loyal readers have been so stoked to see what this special edition looks like. I've wanted to do special editions for so long, but I just, 1, haven't had the time, and 2, it was just a lot of planning and a lot of funds and things that I didn't really want to deal with by myself at the moment. I thought it was too overwhelming. So this is the perfect introduction to see how my audience reacts to it. And they love it. And people are even really upset that they missed out on getting this. So hopefully with enough demand, they will do a reprint. We're also thinking about doing book 2 in both mine and Ben Alderson's series for this. And so hopefully in the future, we can have more of these with Rainbow Crate. And then of course, for indie authors, make sure you read contracts. Make sure that you aren't paying anything up front. They should be paying you. You shouldn't be paying them. How it's paid out is different. So definitely get in touch with people you know in the industry and see what their advice is. And then just have fun with it. This is something for you and for your readers, for everyone to enjoy. So just go crazy with it, honestly. Overall, I am very satisfied with how this turned out. I want to thank Rainbow Crate for giving me the opportunity to do this. I want to thank all the artists that have worked on this, and I just want to thank you and everyone at home who has been supporting Contract Bound and loves Contract Bound enough that we can do something like this. All right, but that's all I have for you today. Hopefully I'll have another one of these updates when we do another round or if we do book 2. So keep a lookout, and I'll see you guys next time.